All right, today we're talking about how you can run ads extremely profitably in saturated markets for your info, coaching, or agency business, or even a B2B company. And this is only going to work if you sell a high-ticket product. My name is Brilliance. If you don't know who I am, I've built 150 plus funnels for the biggest info coaching businesses in the entire world. And we've generated well over $6 million across our info, agency, and B2B clients using these funnels. And a couple of weeks ago, I closed a $21,000 deal off of $2.5K in ad spend. That's an 8.4x ROAS. In this video, I'm breaking down the exact positioning, the offers, the funnel best practices, the backend systems, and the media buying strategy that makes these types of results possible. And by the end of this video, you know exactly how to structure each piece so you can go out there and start running ads profitably for your info, coaching, or B2B business. The very first thing that you need to pay attention to is your positioning, because your buyers are going to compare you to your competitors before they make a decision. I've had people compare me to competitors. They book the call with me, and then they book the call with other competitors. They're like, hey, let me jump on these other calls. Let's see how, what the difference is, what the price is. People are going to do that. They want the lowest risk. And the lowest risk doesn't always mean the price. It means what is the best possible situation that I can be in. You can separate yourself by having creative messaging that is going to communicate with your prospects in a way that makes them feel stalked. You want to explain their situation down to a T. How they think about it, how they speak about it, how they communicate about it with other people. That's what you want to do. You also want to explain how you solve the problem from a very logical standpoint. A lot of people just gloss over the solution like,
hey, we're gonna make you $100,000 this month. We're gonna make you $30,000 this month using a pizza delivery system.
You need to be logical. What does it take for them to achieve an outcome with you? Is it the ads, the landing pages? How do you build the CRM? How do you script the landing pages? How do you script the ads? You need to explain it. And even in your onboarding with your clients, you need to explain to them how you're going to get the results. And that gives them a lot more clarity and makes them more confident to move ahead with you. And another thing as well is creating real urgency with your prospects. You could play into Q4 messaging like, hey, you cannot launch ads on Thanksgiving. So you need to start launching ads right now if you actually want to capitalize on the buying intent that exists within Q4 and run your ads profitably all the way into January and even into spring. So you need to use logical reasons to create urgency. If you create fake urgency, people who are going to pay you $10, $20, $30, $40,000 and even $100,000, they can smell the BS from a mile away. So just use real reasons. And again, if you have no reason, just stick with your offer. There's no reason to add fake reasons just to create urgency for the sake of creating urgency. Show proof as well. Show them, hey, these are some of the people that we've gotten the exact same outcome for. And this is not only by communicating your revenue generated and other stuff is like everyone is seeing, everyone is generating $100 million for their clients. But again, you can use small things like how many funnels you've built or how much funnels you've built for this specific client that has a lot of proof. Take one of our clients, for example, Blake Rocha, Mr. Photo 8. We built the entire funnels for his initial info offers. So saying that even gives me way more credibility than saying, hey, we did $1 million for Blake Rocha by building multiple funnels. It's a small difference, but it kind of shifts the positioning from this is just someone who is talking about revenue again. But again, this kind of gives me that leverage to say, hey, we built all of the funnels for Blake Rocha's entire info offers. That makes sense. So make these the core pillars of your marketing. Just make sure that you're doing all these things. And again, you don't have to overpromise anything in your ads or even in your sales process. Just make sure that you're being realistic with the prospects so that you don't fucking get hit with the FTC. Just make sure you're being very compliant there. Now, the next thing is going to be your cold traffic offer. Now, when selling to cold traffic, one thing you need to understand right now is that there is extremely huge skepticism in the market. This doesn't mean that they're not people who are willing to buy without you showing them a lot of proof. There's different levels of buyers. There's people who are skeptical. There's people who are very risk oriented, so they can take a lot of risk without a lot of information and they're willing to essentially put their balls on the table. But there's people that are not like that. So you need to overall just minimize the front end risk because everyone wants to have lower risk on any venture that they take on. It doesn't matter if you're Elon Musk, it doesn't matter if you're struggling to make your business work. You want something that is low risk on the front end. So just make sure that you're doing something that is it's a one-time setup or an installation offer. It's a one-time payment sort of thing, right? And then after that, you can go ahead and start rolling them into your continuity offers to increase your LTV on the back end. Also make sure that you have some sort of insurance policy that kind of protects them in case anything goes wrong. Also create something that reduces the time delay. So the time it takes to get the outcome, just create something that reduces the time delay it takes to get your outcome in any way that you can. Now, if you don't have any way to reduce the time delay, it's completely fine. You don't have to do that. But again, these are the components of making an offer that is going to sell on cold traffic. You also have to reduce the effort and sacrifice that it takes on the front end. And this is why completely done for you setup offers are crushing it right now. That's the reason we're able to close a $21,000 deal on cold traffic on a one call close because the effort and sacrifice that was on the front end is like completely reduced. All our clients have to do is record the ads, record the VSLs, send feedback on the copy, let us know if there's anything that we need to have in mind in terms of of compliance. Also make your offers revenue driven. Even if you're selling automations, find a way to tie it back into, hey, this is the amount of money that you're going to be able to save on employees. If you sell web design, you can say, hey, this website design can help you charge more and position you as the authority. Thereby you can charge, if you're charging $15,000, you can go to charging $20,000. So these are some things that you need to keep in mind when you're building a cold traffic offer, because this is the only way you're going to succeed. If you're on an info coaching business, an agency, or B2B company, and you want my team and I to build out your full funnel so that you can go launch on cold traffic, this includes your ads, your VSLs, your landing pages, your CRM, your backend nurture systems, and even your media buying, just click the link in the description, book in a call with me, and I'll see if and how we can help you. On cold traffic, it's extremely competitive. You're paying money and you want to make sure that you're getting the most return from the money that you're spending. So you can always upsell into your continue to offers later. A lot of people are naturally going to gravitate towards that lower risk option. So just keep that in mind. And the next is going to be your cold traffic funnel. I see a lot of people make the mistake of, hey,
I'm just going to build a funnel. I'm going to put a VSL and, write the headline. I'm going to, just do it because funnels aren't that difficult.
I'll tell you, just from being a funnel expert myself and actually running a funnel building agency, your funnel is probably where you're going to fuck up the most. Now your ads, again, your ads are, a huge leverage point. A lot of people fuck them up, but your funnels, the reason it's so huge is because a lot of people think it's simple, but it's really not, right? Number one, you need to make sure you have the right conversion mechanism. You need to make sure your headline is on point. Your headline cannot be it cannot be messy. You can't go and say, oh, I'm going to
book 20 to 30 appointments using our pizza delivery acquisition system.
Like, you can't do all of that stuff. You need to make sure that your headline complex has, number one, the audience. You identify who the audience is, either by actions that they're taking or by problems that they have. And usually we want to do this in the eyebrow. So the small text that you see above the headline, that's called the eyebrow. That's what we like to use to identify people. And also we can continue with the identification by going into the headline and say, hey, for example, if you're running ads right now, or if you're trying to convert your traffic, but it's not working, this is how we're going to build you X, Y, Z and get you X, Y, Z results. So you need to make sure that your headline is completely, absolutely dialed in. You cannot miss this. If you miss this, you're going to get absolutely crushed on cold traffic. And I'm not even exaggerating this. I'm telling you based on my experience running my own ads and spending tens of thousands of dollars on ads and putting my balls on the table, right? Again, that's not much. A lot of people are spending tens of thousands a day. But again, this is me telling you from my experience. You cannot fuck this up. It needs to be mobile optimized. When people click through from an ad to your funnel, you need to make sure it's easy for them to go to the next step. They don't need to scroll. They don't need to do all of that stuff. Make sure your load speed is optimized. If it's not, if it takes 10 seconds to load your page, then you're going to be getting very heavily fucked by Meta or your prospects, whatever the case might be. Also make sure that your funnel is custom branded as well. A lot of people come on calls with us from cold traffic and they always complimenting us that, hey, I love the way your funnel looks. I love the proof. Of course, they love the design. They love that we put effort into designing a funnel and making sure it's different from everyone. Like, everyone has seen the ClickFunnels templates. They've seen all of that stuff. They've seen, all of the ugly funnels. And again, you might think all of this stuff doesn't matter, but it actually does matter. It matters actually way more than you think. So make sure it's custom branded, the right conversion mechanism, whether that's webinar, challenge funnel, call funnel, whatever it is, just make sure it's the right conversion mechanism. And also make sure it's 100% aligned with your creative messaging. So key. You cannot say something different on your ad and then say something different on your funnel. It's not going to work, right? And again, excuse my French, but you just need to understand all of this stuff as well. Like, if your funnel isn't converting as well initially, which it likely will, the key here is just understanding what a bottleneck is, right? Is it your click-through rates? Is it your, I don't like to look at CPMs and all of these irrelevant metrics. I'm trying to look at how many people are coming to the page, how much are we spending, what is the cost per call, what is the cost per qualified call, and what is the cost per live call that we're having, right? So understand what the bottleneck is. If you're not getting a lot of people to click through from your ad, probably an ad problem, sorry, you need to go fix the ad. But if you're getting a lot of people, you're getting a lot of clicks to your funnel, but you're not booking calls, then it's probably going to be funnel problem or a headline problem, or maybe the VSL. It's usually not the VSL, to be honest. It's usually the headline a lot of times, because that's where you get to do a lot of the heavy lifting. You just make sure that all of this stuff is optimized. You can test a new headline, optimize the type form, test a new VSL, or even restructure the funnel at some point, test new ads, etc. Right? So key. Now, the next is going to be your backend. And this is where I see a lot of people shit the bed. Absolutely. People shit the bed here because they have no idea what to do. It's a lot of times it's ignorance. And again, I'm not even trying to shit on anybody. It's just this stuff takes a lot. I build funnels with my team and I know how much effort this takes. So if you're running an agency, these backend systems are the reasons why we have an 83% show rate on calls, right? So you have to send texts, you have to send selfie videos, voice notes, and call them, providing value and sending them resources, and also just being an advisor. I see a lot of people make the mistake of just, letting Calendly do the heavy lifting for them and letting automations just run the show. But it's really not going to work if you do it that way. The reason is because everyone does that. So if you want to separate yourself on the back end, you need to do all of this stuff that is going to show that you're an actual human. You send a video, you're like, hey, this is brilliant. I saw you booked in a call. I was looking at your application. I saw that you run an SEO agency, and I thought I'd reach out and provide some information before the call that is going to help you make an informed decision for your business. That's what you need to be doing. You need to be advising your clients. Remember, the goal is not to close the prospects. The goal is to provide them with enough information to get to the point where they can make an informed decision for the prospects. Drill this into your brain, right? You also need to be setting up pre-call email flows. Email flows, just educating your prospects before the call. You need to be sending case studies, sending them YouTube videos breaking down your process. And all of this is generally just going to make your life easier because you're not trying to force them onto a sale. Like, they already see what your process is. They understand you. They probably like you to an extent as well. So just make sure you're doing all these things on the back end. Again, the goal is to give people enough information so that they can make an informed decision. An uneducated prospect is never going to buy. Someone who is confused is never going to buy. Someone who doesn't have all of the information that they need is never going to buy. It's never going to happen, right? So people only buy when the information gap is closed. It's not about one or the other. It's not about the ad, the landing page, or all these different things that people are going to focus on. It's about making sure that the system is maximally efficient. If you want to be profitable on cold traffic, everything needs to be efficient. It's not about one or the other. It's not about that. Let's go to the next point. The next is your media buying strategy. Keep this simple. Keep this very, very simple. And also, we've been seeing a lot of things, go wrong in the Meta Ad Manager when you're trying to upload stuff. Like, Meta is trying to push you in a direction, like all of the AI stuff. So just make sure you're turning off, all of that AI BS, and just make sure that you're checking things off slowly. Actually, just take your time to check things off because Meta is going to turn on some things that you may not like. I've seen someone on Twitter complain about, Meta launching the ads in a different brand account, which is kind of fucked, right? So just make sure you're paying attention to all those things. Right now, we're running individual ads. We're seeing them, work better than dynamic creative. Also, we're seeing ABO work better than CBO right now. I have no idea why. CBO has just been very, very schizo. So just stick to ABO right now. That's what I would recommend. Again, in the future, that might change and I'll let you guys know. But again, that's what we're doing right now as we speak. And also have one broad ad set and have one interest stack. The reason we like to do these two ad sets, obviously you're going to have the same ads instead of these two ad sets. But the reason we're doing one broad and one interest stack is to make sure that Meta is finding what the best audience is going to be for you. I used to run ads at the beginning. I used to do only broad. But right now I'm doing interest stacks, and sometimes my interest stacks outperform the broad, and sometimes the broad outperforms the interest stack. So just make sure that you're stacking all of the chips in your favor, right? Have 3 primary texts, 1 long, 1 medium, and 1 short form. And overall, just let it spend. Just let it fucking spend. That's the message. If there's anything that you learned from this video today, it's just let the ads spend. I usually don't look at the ads up until like 1.5K to $2,000 in spend, sometimes even upwards of 2.5K in spend, just because you need to let the algorithm figure out what ads are resonating with people. If you turn it off too early, then you're going to interrupt that learning process, and the next time you saw, you're going to start afresh. So you don't want that. You don't want to be wasting money. Turning off your ads erratically and just acting emotionally is going to fuck up your campaigns and waste a lot of your money. You might think you're saving money in the short term, but you're actually losing money. So just let your ad spend, turn it on. Unless it's absolute shit in the bed, like nothing is doing well up until $900, $1,000 in spend, then maybe you can consider turning it off. But if you let it spend, I promise you're going to get better results. If you're on an info coaching business, an agency, your B2B company, and you want my team and I to build out your full funnel so that you can go launch on cold traffic, this includes your ads, your VSLs, your landing pages, your CRM, your backend nurture systems, and even your media buying, just click the link in the description, book in a call with me, and I'll see if and how we can help you.